I always knew that I would write this novel, but it's taken me 8 years to really get the courage to confront these issues and write this book, because it arises out of a very personal experience. In 1988, at Atlantic Shores Christian School in Virginia Beach, a young man named Nicholas Elliott, 15-year-old man, went into the school. He's a student at the school, went in with a semi-automatic assault weapon and shot the assistant principal, executed his math teacher, and had the entire Bible class, 11th grade Bible class, in a trailer in the back corner, ready to unload on them. Before he could fire on him, the gun jammed, and his Bible teacher tackled him and prevented really a tragedy like Columbine, but this was years before Columbine. The thing is, my wife taught at that school, my kids attended that school. And so after that, after Nicholas Elliott was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, we found out that the gun that he had bought was illegally sold by a gun shop named Guns Unlimited that engaged in straw purchase transactions where they sold guns to people that weren't eligible under law to buy guns: minors, convicted felons, people with psychiatric backgrounds. And so I represented the family of the slain math teacher in a lawsuit against Guns Unlimited. And as you can imagine, this was a kind of a national case. It was the lead story on CBS News. It was the first verdict of its kind in the nation. And so out of this kind of tragic case, I've always had an interest in these gun control issues. And I'm not a gun control advocate. I'm not, you know, a strident NRA member. I think what the public really wants is balance. And so I've tried to create a scenario and write a book that would recreate some of those emotions and events, but provide some balance through a Christian worldview lens as we look at this issue of gun control. And I don't know of any other books that have tried to do that. Well, this novel is actually about two things. On the spiritual level, it's about throwing off the bondage of the past, dealing, not just forgetting about the past, but dealing with our past sins, confronting them and making restitution for them. But that's kind of the subtle spiritual message that's in the book. What this book is really about is gun control in a gun case. The prologue starts with someone who goes into a television station, holds hostages because of an investigative report they did against this person, and then ends up having a trial on live television and executing one of the anchors. Out of that tragedy arises a case against the manufacturer of the assault weapon that this man used. And as the case unfolds, both of the young lawyers who are handling opposite sides of the case are being subject to blackmail threats because of what they've done in the past. In this book, one of the big plot lines has to do with micro-marketing techniques and how lawyers will impanel shadow juries to help them figure out how the real case is going to go. And I've got a company in this book called Justice Inc. who impanels shadow juries with all the characteristics of the real jury, so they know which side is going to win the case, so they can either bet for or against the stock beforehand. And so what I'm going to do in this book is I'm going to impanel my own shadow jury. And we're going to have a shadow jury of Virginia Beach residents, because this is where the trial takes place. I'm going to recruit 2 former law students of mine who I know are very good lawyers and who fit the characteristics of the young lawyers in this book. And they're going to give the closing argument. And whichever way this shadow jury goes, that's the verdict that I'm going to write into the book. And of course, we need a judge for that shadow case, so I'll be the judge. So this book is really about 3 different things. One is Christians and the sins that ensnare us from the past. Second thing is the issue of gun control. And the third thing is whether justice can be bought and sold by blackmailers in America. So I think the real spiritual message in this book is that until we deal with the past, it holds us bondage. And the lawyers in this book who are being subject to these blackmail threats have these unresolved issues in their past, and they can't find the courage to do the right thing for their clients and for justice until they've dealt with the past. And so I once was at a conference and I heard Rick Warren say that courage comes when you have nothing left to hide. And that's really the spiritual takeaway message in this book. Deal with the past, God forgives you, make restitution to those you've harmed, and then the courage will come because nobody can hold anything over you.